Hello everyone, this is Alex here with the new tutorial for updated version of the conversion tool for Litchi models. This is a significant upgrade from the previous one, as you'll be able to make um, 3D shapes, as you'll be able to still rotate, move around, really quickly manage all your large missions, and create something new and fairly different to probably that has been done before. So the first thing I'm going to show you is with a very simple drawing of a word drone. It doesn't really matter. So what happens is the usual way: I get the mission downloaded and I paste it into the flat mission or sheet of the tool. You'll just see you'll need to insert it there in the usual way. So the first bit, it should be all self-explanatory with lots of hints, lots of pop-ups. So you need to set your first point altitude, and you'll also be able to check if it's good enough, if it's high enough. Um, and then you can go for just entering the numbers, degrees of rotation. If you want your drawing to be fully vertical, if you want it to be flat, if you want to be it flat the other way around, the way it to be shifted a little bit. All of that, all those fine adjustments you can do. There's another setting which I'll explain later, but for now let's just start with flat. That's a bit where you actually will turn it into a semisphere or anything like that. This bit is useful for large missions. So for example, if you have a really long mission, you can split it out into separate ones, but they don't have to be all 99 points. So like for a word drone, I could separate uh, letter D, letter R, and so on and so forth. So meanwhile, I'll be saving the mission, but actually I do it slightly different here. I'll explain in a bit how. Anyway, so you can see that we have our mission created, and what it has done, it has rotated, it's in an inclined plane, and it has shifted 100 meters, so it kind of worked as expected. So the next bit is I'm going to show you a little 3D mode. So I have just copied over the same mission exactly like I did before. I'll just enter different parameters to check the tool is working for everything else. And this idea is that you can make the writing in a sort of 3D. So you go into the 3D tab and you say how much kind of depth you want to add. So what happens is we'll have the two writings and we'll just separate them from one another. So we make the second writing, we add depth above the plane, how high it goes. So already in Litchi you can see it's kind of doubled up. So yeah, in Google Earth you're just able to verify same writing, just like slightly different angle, and obviously if you draw it more nicely it will look like 3D. Or you well, you can make it a curve, you can make it in a ball shape. Again, I'll be explaining it to you shortly what it means and how it's done, but again we can just see the rotation, that it worked, and that it is indeed all fine. I'm just checking that the distance is also um, distance measurement has worked as expected. So now I'm going to show you something called a three curvy mode, but for that you always need to have your first waypoint, like I've done here, in the center of the shape. What it does, it determines the sort of radius around which it's gonna make the curve. And I'm gonna just do it with a single writing, so I'll insert the mission and remove the duplication of it. I'll switch off the 3D mode, and again you'll be able to click on different buttons and see what they actually mean. I will not rotate it, and I'll put it in a vertical plane, so 90 degrees. Um, so here I select something called cylinder in, so it will be a curved shape, and it will be kind of curve away from me, from where I'm looking at the drawing. Just check that everything else is again as expected. So you see the altitude was 20, and it means our minimum altitude is too low, so I set it to 90. And yeah, it gets red when it's less than 5 meters above the first point, just as a little safety bit I have inserted. So already in Litchi we can see that it is a curve as expected, and let's see what it looks like in Google Earth. Again, if it was a nice drawing, lots of points, it would look uh, it would look a lot smoother, but it just to kind of prove and show the point that it's working. Now let's do something more interesting. We'll take a sphere, and so I go to Google Earth and I use the image of the Earth. And here again, I'll just point out that it is important when you draw it that your very first point is in the center of your sphere. So you can delete it later, your drawing doesn't have to actually fly it, but when you draw it, you have to have your first point in the center here. So I just and then the second one is best to sort of go furthest point. It doesn't have to, but it's kind of handy. Again, you can always delete it if it's not where you want it to be. So I'll do a full circle around, not doing it very neatly, but again, it will do the job for the purposes. And then so that we could easily tell what happened to the image, I'll make a few vertical drawings and a few horizontal ones. Well, once it's ready, as before, we save it as a KML file and then import in Litchi. Here I've used exactly 99 points just to keep things easy. So import to Litchi and then get the CSV file. So yeah, we get a nice little circle here. And I would just make a note that we have 46 points on the circumference. It will be important. I'll explain why. Spent quite a bit of time trying to figure it out, and there is a little, not sure if it's a bug or well, kind of a bug, or is it just how maths works? So what happens is dots which are supposed to be on the circumference, they do not make a perfect circle by default. So the first point of the circumference is where it's supposed to be, but the rest isn't for some reason. So that's why I have added a little setting, but first I'll show you what actually went wrong. So for this mission I will just not draw the vertical and horizontal lines. I have to select it as a semisphere mode, so let's do semisphere out. But before we actually have the spherical bits, let's make the mission from the first point to the 46 point. Yeah, I'm just checking here that I remembered it correctly. So mission 1, you see, like as I said, I want to break down the image. So I want mission 1 to be 40 points 1 to 46. And what happened here is I already have a separate file which I open and it just picks up mission 1 for me straight away. So when I insert it here, you can see it's kind of edgy. What's supposed to be looking like a straight line all in a circle, it's actually just a edgy circle, which again lots of time spent, and probably because of the squares and the formulas, it's unless you get it exactly super perfect, it will not work. So let's do the whole mission now. But a little workaround which I've done is there's a setting here where you just say that points 1 till 46 are supposed to be in the circumference, and then if you want you can do it again. There's a second gap for it. So with that, with me entering that, it will force them to make a good circle. But you don't have to use it, and you don't have to actually have points on the circumference, on the greater circle. You can just draw an image and make it kind of spherical. It doesn't have to touch the circumference. So I'm just checking everything is set as required. And again, it might be going quite quickly for some of you, but yeah, there are lots of hints. Like this page is all you need to do, and you can see mission 1, mission 2, mission 3 down there. That's again, once you put your settings, when you inserted your flat mission and you put your settings, it's already ready for you to go. And you can see the files which I have. So in the mission 1, mission 2, mission 3, there's an extra column which numbers the points, which you don't need. So what I have done is I created a separate Excel file. As soon as I open it, it just picks up. And in the download link, you can get exactly that. So you'll have it already ready for you. Again, hopefully it should be self-explanatory. Meanwhile, I have imported the Earth. What I have done is I have exported it with settings semisphere in and semisphere out, and both at the same time they just make a full sphere. So there's a plane with a circle and the lines, and just bits inside one of them goes out and the other one goes in. So if we take the same stuff and we give it something called a cylinder setting, it will kind of try to put it in the shape of a cylinder. If we take a flat circle and put it on a cylinder, so it will not have the curvings at the top and at the bottom, but it will just do what it has done with the writing in the beginning of this video. So let's just see what's gonna happen. As I'm doing the voiceover a bit later, since I have done the recording, I am trying to remember what I have tried to do here. I think I'm breaking it down into 3 separate missions. Of this was meant to be a circumference. Yeah, so I'm breaking down into the bottom part and into the vertical lines and into the horizontal lines. So mission 1 is the circumference. You see I opened the Excel file as a separate one, and I already have mission 1 in there, and I'll just need to save it as CSV. Then mission 2 will be the vertical lines, and mission 3 the horizontal lines. Again, you'll get all those files in there. All you need to do, insert your flat mission, put your settings in on the settings sheet and on the 3D sheet if you're using 3D setting, and yeah, just open those files and you already have everything you need. So I do cylinder in for missions 1 and 2, and then I need to do cylinder out for mission 3. So I'm kind of gonna do a cylinder where there is the main cross section, the bits that look in one way and bits which look in another way. I save it as CSV. And so this is the kind of, not the circumference, but the outer part of the cylinder. Then we have the one out and one on the other side. You can see that's actually a bit flatter. That's because there is a setting which I missed a little bit and didn't comment on. when you add extra radius, it will have a pop-up hint in there. But when you add extra radius, there's a recommended radius, which auto-calculated, but you can add a little bit extra, so it does flatten it. So you see, it's not a sphere, but a cylinder. Yeah, so you see the recommended radius, and I have added a little extra, but if I put 0 there, it again will be more curved up. So now I'm gonna do one more mission, and let's do a semisphere, and I'm gonna show you another great function right now, which is how you can change the location. Well, I'm kind of gonna gonna show it. I'm gonna show it to you twice. First time when it didn't work for me because I had a bug which I had to fix. Now I'm just doing the previous settings which I wanted to do. And a little trick, so I want to add a 3D. What I'm doing, I'm taking one semisphere and I'm lifting the circumference up, so whatever inside is left inside, but the circumference doesn't stay what it is. It is shifted from the plane on which the drawing was first drawn, and it's easier to see it actually what's going to happen. So you want to move a new mission, you just say yes, and you enter your new coordinates and it gets moved. So I already had some coordinates entered, but you can enter whatever you need there, latitude, longitude. The file will look a little different as there was a bug with it. I had to fix it, but nothing that affects you. Everything that has been explained will remain the same. So I'm gonna take the whole mission. I entered, so mission 1 goes from 1 until 99 points. You see here I realized I didn't do it at first. So mission 1, because I didn't correct it from last time, I want everything just in one mission exported. So I'm gonna do it again. I open my file numbered number 1. You see it auto updated with all the points. Save it as a CSV and try import it back into Litchi. So what's happened is it changed shape, but it is what it should have been. So a semisphere line on the back and with the circumference shifted. I'm going to show it now in Google Earth so it's easier to understand. What you see there, there's a bug. I have fixed it. It's all done. It is sorted. So you see it's in the new location, and it has the circumference shifted up compared to everything else. And if you do it again, it will not look like that. Don't worry. It's keep forgetting about degrees of latitude, and longitude being slightly different, and easy to forget those in huge formulas. That's why I've done lots of tests, and hopefully it should be bug free for now. But if you spot anything, if something is difficult or if something has been too quick, which should probably been in some cases here, let me know in the comment, drop me a message, anything. I'll be more than happy to help. So here I'll just, after I already have done the bug fix, I'm gonna try and do the same thing again. Hopefully will be easy enough and convincing enough that it all works. So here there's a little break in time. The file is slightly different. It has a few extra fields, but now I just shift it to a different location once again. Let's see what's gonna happen. So that is the original. So I'm not moving it yet. Yeah, let's, as expected. And now I say yes, I want to move it to a new location. I just enter some coordinates somewhere. You can go anywhere between plus 180 minus 180. It's just you can't go beyond 89 north and 89 minus 89, which is 89 south. um, and it has shifted as expected. Um, so I'll just do one more test. Is I'll make sure that if I say okay, I want to move it a few meters at the new location, that it does it correctly. And spoiler alert, in this video it's not, but again, that's fixed. I have checked it. So if you say 100 meters, 100 meters, it will shift it 100 meters to the left, 100 meters to the right. See, again, ask me any questions, but the pop-up windows in every cell should be helpful enough and guide you through the process. Just to sum up, if you want to do a 3D mission, you take your original mission, import it into the insert your mission here sheet, which hopefully is again obvious enough for where it is. Insert it without any gaps. Then go to the sheet number, to the second sheet, and go through all the settings. Set your altitudes, break down your mission if you need it. Say if you later want to move it to a new location. All the fields should be self-explanatory. Play with the flat mission or 3D missions. Once again, remember that if you're dealing with 3D, what I mean is cylinder in, cylinder out, semisphere in, semisphere out. Your first point has to be in the center of your drawing. So that's something you need to think through from the start. And then you will have your missions ready on sheets mission 1, mission 2, mission 3, but it has an extra column. So what you could do is you could just copy everything into a CSV file without the extra column, but instead I have just created separate Excel file number 1, Excel file number 2, 3, and so on. So all you do is just open it and everything is ready. So insert mission, choose your settings, open a file, and it will be broken down as you need up to 99 points per mission. Again, all the settings are kind of set to be to prevent any errors, so everything will be locked and unlocked where it's not. There's also a little note with instructions, which hopefully will be helpful. Thank you very much for your time. It's again not an expert in voiceovers, so second time ever doing such a video, but hopefully you'll find it useful. Thank you so much and good luck.